Okay, heintige Parshas Korach. Yeah. You have to flip with the tight. Heintige Parsha. The truth is, it's a funny thing to say, but it's true. Parshas Korach is the Parsha of Koyanim. Parshas Korach, Parsha of Koyanim. Maybe even more than Parshas Emer. In Parshas Emer, you have the mitzvahs of Koyanim. But the Ruch, the Neshama of Koyanim is Parshas Korach. What's the Nekud of the Parsha? The Nekud of the Kohen sitting right next to me. The Nekud of the Parsha is, don't mess with the priests. Don't mess with the Koyanim. Why? Because you're going to get, on the spot, you're going to get, the Eibush doesn't, I'm a fachepetzach with the kahuna, you start up with the kahuna, it doesn't take any time, and the Eibush sends you the consequences. The kahuna, everything is schnell. Also, sehr, sehr schnell. Ad meher yoras devari. If you know the Maimorim on Parshas Korach, a lot of them on Parshas Korach talk about Birchas Koyanim. Birchas Koyanim Parshas Nasei. So why do you talk about Birchas Koyanim in Parshas Korach? Because of today's chitas. Today's chitas is Matei Aaron, right? Today's chitas is the stick. It's a short chitas. In Chumash, it's not such a long chitas. That the Yidden were complaining. First they complained with Korach. Then they complained, Atamita Mesamavaye. Ha'im Tanu L'Gvaya. Moshe Rabbeinu, to tell each Shevet, to give a mata l'nasi echad. And the Torah says, and one mata for Shevet Levi, Ahrons mata for the whole Shevet Levi. In the Gemara, there's a discussion. The bottom line is, the whole Shevet Levi is called a kohol. There's in Yeshivish, in Lumdis, there's a geder called a kohol. What's a kohol? There's different days, but what's a kohol? A Shevet is, according to many days, a kohol. But Koyanim are not a kohol. Leviim are not a kohol. Koyanim and Leviim together is a kohol. It's a Shevet. And the Eibush told Moshe Rabbeinu, every Shevet should give a stick. And Aaron gave a mate, and they put him in the Kedesh HaKadoshim. And Moshe Rabbeinu made sure to put, he could come out and say, he put it in the middle of Abatei. They're going to believe him. But he put it right next to the Arna Kedesh. And gesagt, I like the mitten. Nobody went to the Kedesh HaKadosh but Moshe Rabbeinu to put on the sticks. But Moshe came out and said, I put Ahrons in the middle. He was not close to the Arna Kedesh. So Vayotzeit Perach, Dartenu, Vayotzeit Tzit, Perach V'Yimoshkedim. So Rashi says, why of all the fruits? It's a Pri Ha'etz, right? Shkedim are almonds. They're fruit. They're not Ber Pi Adon. Pri Ha'etz. It's from a tree. Of all the trees that grow on fruit, why did it produce almonds? Shkedim. And the answer is because they're memahir, because they're the quickest fruit to ripen. Of all the fruits that ripen, an almond is a kind of a nut. Ripens the quickest. And of course, in Hebrew, we use the word shkida, right? Shkida and asmal. The sherish of that word is shkedim. The almonds are very quick to ripen, and a kid or a shiva bacher who's a shoyked, who's diligent, you call it. There's a good shkida. It's from the same sherish. So Rashi explains that this is a lesson. That everything that has to do with Koyanim happens fast. Everything that has to do with Koyanim happens fast. And he brings the example from Uzzah. There was a Melech Yisrael, Melech Yehuda. He was a king. He was considered a tzaddik. And he decided, he was from David HaMelech's mishpacha. He decided he wants to be Kohen Gadol also. So on Yom Kippur, he decided he's going to do the Avodah Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippurim. And as he was standing on the Mizbeach, he became a Mitzvah. As he was standing on the Mizbeach on Yom Kippurim, he became a Mitzvah. His son succeeded him. What was his son's name? Anybody know? But Uzzah, whatever his name was, he lived for many, many years in isolation. He was never cured from his tzaras. He died because that's a chepet mit the kahuna. So Rashi explains, you don't want to mess with the priests. You understand? You don't want to mess with the koyanim. Mess with the koyanim, the Eibush doesn't wait around. There's no grace period. If you start up with the kahuna, there's no, Hashem doesn't say, okay, let's be nice for a while. There's the consequences right away. And if you think about it, in Pshuta Shel Dvarim, in Pashtus, it makes sense. Because in all Yadim of Yiddishkeit, the kahuna is the most vulnerable. I mean, we live as Banazeh, what's a kohen? A kohen duchens, and he can't go to Levias. That's about it, yeah. But the Zman HaBayis, in Parshas Korach, he gets choved out matas kuna. In the end of Parshas Korach is the 24 matas. Kohenim, not bad. It's not bad to be a kohen. Everyone has to feed you. If it's like out you, choved out matas kuna. So people can start pushing you. Excuse me, what you were born a kohen? Excuse me, I purchased the kuna. You know, in America you can buy anything for geld. So the Rebbe set up a system. He has to protect the kahuna, because the kahuna is like within Yidden, it's a special group. If a chepetzach with the kahuna, the oynish is immediate. But I don't want to speak about Anshim. I didn't bring this up to speak about Anshim. I brought it up to bring out the point that everything about kahuna is fast, right? And we were kids in Cheder. The first example that we had for the idea that everything about kahuna is fast was kohenim zrizim hem. Remember, we're little kids in Cheder. Before we knew about shkedim, and before we knew about tzaras, we knew that the Chazal said the halacha is kohenim zrizim hem. Kohenim do everything quickly and well. Everything about the kahuna is schnell, right away. And Birchas Kohenim is also the same thing. Birchas Kohenim comes from the Kohenim. And Birchas Kohenim is al derech zeh, that the bracha comes right away. There's a lot of Maimorim from the Rebbe, which is based on the Maim from the Rebbe Marash. There's a Likutei Sichos on it. The Rebbe spoke once in a Hadron also, Masechta Rosh Hashanah, I think, that Birchas Kohenim is an unusual bracha. I'm going to save you the details because I don't want to chazer a Maimer. But the Nekuda is, Birchas Kohenim has either Ma'ila from bracha, either Ma'ila from tefillah. Birchas Kohenim comes from a very, very high level. And at the same time, Birchas Kohenim is a certain thing. You're for sure going to get the bracha. So today's chitas, the chitas of Gimmel Tammuz, Tavshin Pei Gimel, in Chumash, is about the idea that when it comes to kahuna, everything is fast. The brachas come quick. The consequence of messing around comes quick. It's all very, very, very fast. And we know the Rambam. We all know the Rambam. And the Rambam says, the Rebbe says, Kochnem Ram, as it's like Merid Amo, that Lei Shavit Levi Bovad. Right? Kohenim serve, right? Visheres. Kohenim serve. Kohenim serve the Eibishter. That's their role. And they serve the Eibishter on behalf of all the Jewish people. So the Rambam says famously, in the end of Hilchos Shmita V'Yevel, Loi Shavit Levi Bovad. Kol Bo Yelam, whatever it is, Ish Kol Bo Yelam. Any human being, and Kol Bo Yelam includes even Goyim, who decides to separate himself from the Havli Azman, from the Narishkeit that people are busy with, and to separate himself to be involved in Avedis Hashem, Hareze Niskadesh Kedesh Kadoshim. He's made the holiest of holies. And the pasuk the Rambam finishes, Havayehu Nachalosei. Just like it says by Koyanim. By Koyanim it says, Lo Yir La Koyanim Alaviyim. Koyanim Alaviyim are not given a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. Hashem Hu Nachalosei. So the Rambam says that any person, any human being who serves V'Sheres, Havayehu Nachalosei. The Eibush is his Yerush. And I'll say it straight. V'Sheres. That's what we do. Lubavitcher Chasidim's business is we serve. Some of us are zoicher that we have an official position that we're shluchim. And shluchim, I was at a conference of shluchim the last 2 days, and when you hear Young Light say shluchim shaladim k'meisei mamish, but they're not saying shluchim shaladim k'meisei mamish with a smile like look at me. They're saying shluchim shaladim k'meisei mamish with eyes full of tears because Amol, the shlucha shaladim k'moisei mamish zeya shver. You understand? The shlucha shaladim k'moisei doesn't always look like a bowl of cherries. Sometimes it looks like the cherries are rotten, and you have to remind yourself shlucha shaladim k'moisei mamish. And even those of us who are not officially not the Paltiel, the Rebbe's soldiers, Lubavitcher Chassidim, we are a segment. We're kohenim levim. We serve. This is how the Rebbe made us. We serve. And the service involves zrizus, haste. And the haste has two parts. The first part of the haste is our avodah. We can't drag our feet. We got to do what we need to do and do it now. Whatever it is that we need to do right away. Ich bin beteva schlepper. Ich beteva schlepper. Everything I do is a little longer than everybody else. I don't know why. I'm a schlepper. A schlepper. They das. Whatever. I was a schlepper. But a kohen is nicht a schlepper. A kohen is a zoris. A servant of the Rebbe, a Lubavitcher chassid, who has in any way a sense of duty. I'm a Lubavitcher. Whatever I do for a living, I can be a plumber, but I'm a Lubavitcher. And my life is not my plumbing, my life is my opportunities to do shadus, to do service. So when it comes to shadus, everything is busy. I'll tell you, it's one of my favorite stories. And it's mamisha b'didi habuvda. I was a kid, I was a bacharol, I was 22 years old, I just come back from shlichus. I was a little pisher. I was a pisher in every way except one. That is, I didn't know I was a pisher, you understand? I thought, ein klein, ein kamayni, ein kelekenu, mi kelekenu, ein klein. Anyway, I came back from shlichus. It must have been Pesach. It was one of my first Yom Tov after Shlichus, and the office of the Talucha called me that I should speak in a shul. Okay, why not? I was afraid that I wouldn't do so well. I had no idea what kind of shul I'm going to, so I took along my father. He's going to be my backup. He had said, and we walk into the shul, and everyone goes over to my father and says to him, Shalom Aleichem. Oh, you came to speak. He says, no. The Pisher is speaking. I'm the audience. He said, Mamish Lubavitch at its best. So it was a little shtibel near Borough Park, on the way to Borough Park. The Rav was a Yid with Gehazen Horovitz. I'll never forget it. I met twice such people. Chassidish Yid, not Lubavitchers, but you took one look at them and you saw that these Jews were Chassidish Yidden. I met Chassidish Yidden, really, really holy. This Horowitz did not wear a streimel. He wore a hat. Und wie gesagt, als Vater Machon getragen a streimel. After the war, he stopped wearing a streimel. He was a very, very big lamp. You could see that he was a holy Jew. He was a real person. No. He didn't have a streimel. Only Lubavitch had a streimel. Anyway, I come into the shul with my father. So everyone tells my father hello. But says, no, it's not me, it's him. See how it goes. Lubavitch comes into a shul. So after mincha, half the crowd walks out. Half the crowd goes to the back of the shul to shushka and listen with a half an ear, decided they like it or they don't like it. And then there's a quarter that's listening to you. This Rav, who was Mastama ben Shmoinim, came in the front of the shul and sat down next to my father to listen to my drasha. I have no idea what I said. Whatever I said, I hope. Mitzvah Hashem. How bad can it be? Yeah, you start making up your own taters. Anyway, but it was beautiful to see. He was at least 3 times my age, maybe 4 times. It's like I'm reading the Rebbe's words. He sat down and listened to me. We daven Ma'ariv, and as for daven Ma'ariv, the shul clears out, and we start to dance. Lubavitch started to dance. The Mishagoyim dancing, and this Rav had getanzt mit uns. We danced. He danced with us. In my imagining, I imagined I was watching him, and I was thinking that this guy remembered a time. Was mit getanzt nacheinander. He saw Chassidus in Poland, where it wasn't just a streimel and socks. It was he probably was used to this, And when the Chassidim came, when the Lubavitchers came, und mit getanzt, und mit ein bisschen vergessen wegen sich, hat sich gelebt. He really enjoyed it. So we're dancing. How many people were in the shul? 6 chevre, 8 chevre. It wasn't a lot of people. We're not dancing with us. And at the back of the shul is 2 Lubavitcher bacharim who are uncomfortable. There's always a couple of Lubavitchers who are not sure they want to be Lubavitch. And we're dancing, and this Rav beckons the 2 bacharim to come and dancing mit uns, with the chevre. And they stood there. A 16-year-old kid, a 7-year-old kid. They were embarrassed. Right? It happens, right? Raskin, it happens. Yeah, it happens. So I'll never forget this. This Yid stops, and he plants his feet in the ground, and he said, he was so upset, "Ir zentach Lubavitcher." He said, "You Chassidim, when you come here, This is how I interpreted it. I can go back to what I saw 50 years ago in a different world, and you're not dancing. It was so beautiful. It was beautiful. It was so moving. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was a moment of emes. And there's two sides to it. Let's talk about the side that we like to talk about. Yeah, you go to the oil, you read a list, and whatever you want to get. I'm afraid. He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He's a young man. I don't think he's 40. He has 2 kids. When they get started, he has a sister lyhadus, and she came. I could play the tape. I got it yesterday. She came to the Rebbe, and she's not an oil person. She's not an oil person. Oil is very hard for her. B'chlal Lubavitch is hard for her. She's a Machon graduate, but she's not a Lubavitcher. She called me yesterday. The doctor said the cancer shrunk. And it's never happened in their career that the cancer should shrink like this. I have a message. I can play it for you. I don't want to play with it because she says her name, but it's unbelievable. She came to the oil, her brother, it was a goy. So she sent me this message. I said to her, I told her, when you go for a goy to the tzien, you say the name of the father's name. And I took from her brother's name, and whenever I mentioned him, I go to the oil often enough. I mentioned his name. She came here a week and a half ago. And she says to me, Rabbi, in my opinion, it's a miracle. And she's not from the people that are into Mifsim. So I sent her, by the way, a message. Tell your brother you should do a mitzvah. Goyim don't have taryag mitzvahs. They have sheva mitzvahs. But if you look in the encyclopedia, Talmudis, the 7 mitzvah goyim is 30 mitzvahs, 40 mitzvahs. There's kibbut of aim, there's stocker, there's bikkur chel, there's avayis hameis. There's so many things that goyim are mechuyev. So I said to her, tell your brother that he should investment from tight. The guy he's a young man, was given a death sentence, and the cancer shrunk. The doctors don't know how to understand it. So listen, the miracle's not over. I said, but tell your brother as Alton, he shouldn't thank God by lighting a candle. He shouldn't thank God by saying thank God. He should thank God by doing a good deed, a mitzvah, as again tzedakah, as Omakar as I not mentioned. I feel that that's the Lubavitcher approach. Everything is a maaseh. Everything is a maaseh. So we're used to this. The truth of the matter is we're used to this. We're so accustomed. I mean, this is a story. It happened yesterday. I was sitting in the car back from the convention, and she sent me this message. We're used to this idea. You go to the Rebbe, the old story, how come he helps the goyim so much? You didn't help me up the goy. I mean, when you be the Rebbe, the Rebbe's cheshbonos. But we're used to the idea that the Rebbe, our relationship with the Rebbe, it's a shortcut. It's berachas koyanim. It's quick. It doesn't take any time. You got a problem, you go to the tzien, is the hearts, or mazet gilal kus, the honor share maisis. Okay, you have your story that it didn't happen. I'm not gonna chas v'shalom belittle you. I have my story. We're melumad benisim. We're the lashon of the Rebbe zatalamo. Wir seinen shevet Yosef. Wir seinen alei oyen. Wir seinen hercher von ein Hore. Steht in Chassidus. Also alei oyen meint hercher von alma deskasia. Alei oyen geht auf a fish. Alei oyen meint hercher von alma deskasia. Wir seinen melumad benisim. We're melumad benisim. I was once a kid at a bitch spring Farbrengen for us. How did he start the Farbrengen? He started Farbrengen by saying, when somebody asked me to Farbrengen, I'm not allowed to refuse. Why? There was a little kid that came from Eretz Yisrael, and the Machon came for Talucha, and the Rebbe turns to him and said, "Du hast gerät?" He was a young boy from Israel, didn't speak a word of English. He didn't speak. You spoke? So he'll never know. He says, the Rebbe says, whenever you get a chance, you should speak. So he never refused the Farbrengen. So he Farbrengen for us. So he told us that there was 2 Satmar Kinderlach who were discussing Lubavitch. How come the Lubavitch Rebbe does Mifsim for everybody else? He doesn't do Mifsim for his own Chassidim. So the other kid said, for his Chassidim he arranges that they shouldn't need the Mifsim in the first place. So we're melumad benisim. V'nishvi, as difficult as this Mamid Matzav is, and what Chanei Magal say? Loi kach bikashnu. It's not exactly the program. Nidos hab mir erwart. Loikach b'kashnu. The Rebbe tells them one, loikach b'kashnu. A zweitemo, weiter loikach b'kashnu. Right? Loikach b'kashnu. This is not exactly the program, but nevertheless, the Matthias Advarim is. You have an issue, get with some Rebbe. When the Rebbe helps, let me go home. Everybody knows it. And this is even Zrizis. It's Birchas Koyenim. The Rebbe is Birchas Koyenim. The Bracha comes right with Nachat Koyen. Don't mess with the Koyenim. The Koyenim come quick too. But the other side of Koyanim is Koyanim Zrizim. You give a Koyen a mission, he does it right away. You ever saw the video? It's such a sweet little video. This is just a window into the Rebbe. So that Yid, but I may be wrong. A rich man, and he was a member of Machon Development Fund. If I'm saying the wrong name and you know the right name, you can correct me. He's a frume Yid, he's a Chassidish Yid, a very wealthy man, but he came to the Rebbe, his opportunity, he can meet the Rebbe, and he was involved in a tzedakah. In Kfar Chabad, they had for the Yesayimim, for the soldiers, orphans that they would make a bar mitzvah. And that year they had 107 orphans, or something like that. Whatever number it was. So he came to the Rebbe of Menachem Yisrael, and he tells the Rebbe what he's doing, that he's involved in this program to do a bar mitzvah for these Yesayimim. And he says to the Rebbe, we're thinking, it would be a wonderful thing if we can give every child $1 from the Rebbe. So the Rebbe says, how many dollars do you need? So he tells the Rebbe, it doesn't got to be right now. We can talk it later. He says, no, why? If I can do it now, why should I do it later? The Rebbe took a stack of $100, those neat packs with the paper, and he handed it to him. He said, if you need more, you'll ask the mosquitoes, they'll give you more. And then if I can do it now, why should I do it tomorrow? I don't think you need to describe the Rebbe as his orders, but we need to be Zrizim. In other words, I'm trying to say that the point of this speech, of this drasha, is that Parshas Korach is about Koyanim. It's not about Korach, it's about Koyanim. And there's two messages. Message number one, if you mess with the kahuna before you blink, you can get a punch in the nose. The Eibusha does not hesitate. When you start out with the kahuna, retribution is instantaneous. And I think there's a hasbara. I think you can explain it. The explanation is because we're all Yidden. Kol Mahovim, Kol K'dayshim, like Korach says. And Koyanim are different. So we're not talking here Lahadl Elef Achados, Yidden and Goy. We're talking about Yid the Yid. Now that Yid is special as a Koyan. And this Yid is a nice guy, he's a big time Kocha, well, Koyan is an Isht. This is a line which is very sensitive. And it can become very easily crossed. So the Rebbe should set up the system, you mess with the kahuna, boom, you get punished right away. But the other side of that coin is that this is not only in the Tzad HaGevura, it's the idea that everything that has to do with kahuna is fast. And the Babich Chassidim are Veshedes. This is what we do, we serve. Each one serves in their own way. I have Talmidim that are business light. You would not call them Chassidish at all. And they come from a business trip, the only thing they talk about is the number of people that they put film on. I got them at a restaurant, I got them film, and you see the koyach der Rebbe in unser eingelegt. That the Zibur ist, weißt du, the Zutrische Behu. Yochayra, nicht kachsedish, he's a businessman, and he's like, yeah, das Jens. But the bottom line is, when he meets a Yid, he puts on film with him. This is our business. So the Hira is that mitzad with Hashem's help, the Eibush gives us many brachas, and he gives us the brachas quickly. And mitzad Hasheni, there's an expectation from us. Mitzvah lebo habo liyodecha al tachmitenu shmartem es hamatzes. Mitzvah habo liyodcha al tachmitenu. Don't push it off. Don't delay. If you can do a good deed, do it now. If you can help another person, help them. Jede gute Sache, wenn wir kein Ton, darf man reinhaben und Ton. And David is helpful that he'll treat us the same way. That everything that we need, then boy do we need stuff, huh? Boy do we need stuff. But David should get and take it from Yad. Okay, l'chaim l'bracha. The tzel element.
About
L'chaim l'bracha.
Successor, his name was Yesam.
that we write.
Huh? Yoisam.
You said we write to the Rebbe.
Chaim the bracha.
And he gives us from Hashem everything that we need, so we give him back. So was an Israeli that had a friend from Nahariya. He didn't see his friend for 38 years. So his friend went to New York and he didn't see him. After 38 years, he sees his friend in the middle of Manhattan. He gives him a hug and he says, Shalom Aleichem, what are you doing here? How is your parnose? He said, Baruch Hashem, everything is fine. How do you make a living? He says, I am a writer. So he knew him from school. He's not a writer. He said, what do you write? He said, I'm writing letters to my father and I'm asking him for money. So we are writers. And we have to know that this is the Mokira Parnose, the writing to the Rebbe. So we have to give back, like he said.